Hey there, scary people, and welcome back to the One Scary Woman YouTube channel. Now, if you have been following along with this process of making a feature film in a year, you should know that we are now at the end of the screenwriting portion of this year. So if you have been following along, hopefully you've got your screenplay in pretty good shape. Pretty much you're probably still going to be working on revising and improving it as we continue to move forward. But from this point on, we're going to turn our attention to actually getting your film made. Now, before we really start to dive into that next month, this video is about what to do if you just want to sell that screenplay. So you may not want to go through the process of doing the full production on your own. It is a lot of work. Perhaps it's much more appealing to you just to sell that script to a producer or someone else who can get it made so that you don't have to worry about it. So there's definitely pros and cons to both approaches. If this is you and you would rather just sell this script and get it over with, it is absolutely in your power to do so. There are just a couple things that you're going to need and a couple things to know. So you are absolutely, especially if you are new to this industry, I'm assuming, if you're in a position where you don't yet have a manager or anything like that, even if you did have a manager, you would need these things, but you especially need them if you're just starting out on your own. And those are your query letter and a pitch. So the query letter is just a one-page letter. The most common mistakes writers make is that they overwrite, they jam in a whole lot of information and details, these really huge paragraphs. You do not want that. This is a letter that should have a lot of white space on it so that a producer can read it very quickly. And it should just be focused really on those main hooks of your story. So the main things to grab their attention and pull them in. So this is something that I go into a lot more detail on in my course. Perhaps I'll do a future video if there's interest going over this a little bit more, but the main things to keep in mind, keep a lot of white space on that page and really just focus on your hooks, on the things that are going to make them interested and make them want to know more. The pitch is sort of the spoken version of the query letter, but it's different from the query letter. Since it is spoken, it is much more conversational. So of course, you're going to want to give them a quick overview of the story. Of course, you're still going to want to focus on those hooks, but you're not going to want to make it sound stiff. You're going to want to be in conversation with them. And again, the goal is really to engage them in a dialogue. So you want them at the end of that pitch to be asking you lots of questions. That means that they're interested. So if your mission is to sell your script on your own, you're going to need to perfect those marketing materials. And of course, the other thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to figure out how and where to actually contact these people. So this is something I go over in my courses as well in case you want to check them out, but some general advice for you to think about. There are tons of websites that can connect screenwriters with producers or directors or other people who are looking to purchase content. So some of my personal favorites are networkisa.org. So that's the International Screenwriters Association. They have gigs posted. So when someone is looking for a particular type of script, likewise, you're also allowed to post your script so that someone can discover it. If they are looking for it to purchase a script, they're looking for something because they want to produce something. Stage 32 is another good one. There's also virtual pitch fests that you can sign up and make your pitch to different producers. So I encourage you to check out all of that if this is the road you want to go down. My final pieces of advice are to invest in IMDb Pro. So this is the paid version of IMDb. So that's the International Movie Database, because you can also find contact information for just about anybody on there. So if there's a particular film that's similar to yours, or even if you do a general search and then you narrow it down for people who have done films in your same genre, maybe low budget because they'll be easier to contact, you'll be able to find contact information for a ton of people and then send your query out to them. So don't make the mistake of thinking that people don't accept unsolicited queries. They absolutely do. Yes, the people at the huge studios might not, but people forget that there are thousands of independent production studios, and those people are actively looking for content that is a fit for them, that makes sense for them. You can find those emails and those phone numbers on IMDb. LinkedIn is the last one that I will mention. So LinkedIn can be a totally free resource. I know they have a paid version as well, but even using it as a free resource, you can look up producers, connect with them, and query them over LinkedIn. So I have made deals using every single one of these things that I have mentioned. If you are looking to sell your script, this is worth your time to look into it as well. Now, this is a huge subject. I do actually have a full marketing course that goes over all this in more detail. It takes 8 weeks, and I know here we only spent about 5 minutes, so I'm sure you have questions. So be sure to put your questions down in the chat below so that I can be sure to get back to you and help you out with some of the information that you need. All right, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like and subscribe. And whether you sell it yourself or produce it yourself, make sure to keep moving forward with those scripts.